It was the middle of June 2025, in the peaceful district of Nalanda, Bihar. Life in Bihar Sharif moved at its usual pace. Small shops opening early, people heading to work, and the faint sound of temple bells echoing in the distance. No one had the slightest idea that within hours, this quiet town would become the center of one of the most shocking murder cases in the country. The victim's name was Puja Kumari, a 20-year-old nursing student. Born and raised in Nalanda village under the Sarai police station area, Puja was the eldest of 5 siblings. Her father was a primary school teacher, a simple man who worked hard to educate his children and give them a better future. Puja had always been bright, responsible, and ambitious. After finishing her studies at a mission school in Sheikhpura, she took admission in a private nursing college in Banbigha, Nalanda. At first, she would travel from her home to the college every day. But later, as her studies became more demanding, she rented a small room near the campus. Still, she often visited her home, especially during holidays, because no matter how busy she was, she loved being with her family. Then came June 17, 2025. That morning, Puja told her parents that she had received a message from college. The exams were about to begin and she needed to collect her uniform from the campus. She said she'd return by evening. Her father smiled, reminding her not to stay out too late. But that evening, Puja didn't come back. At first, the family thought she might have stayed back at a friend's place. But as night fell, worry began to grip them. Puja was always punctual and would at least call home, but her phone was switched off. Her father tried again and again. No response. A heavy silence filled their home. By midnight, fear had completely taken over. Puja's father rushed to the Bihar Sharif police station and filed a missing person report. The next day, June 18, 2025, the police officially began their investigation. The case of a missing young woman demanded immediate attention. Under the supervision of SIO Samrat Deepak, search teams were dispatched. Posters were printed and calls were made to hospitals, colleges, and friends. Hours passed, but there was no trace of Puja. Then suddenly came a small but powerful lead. A local informer told police that he had seen Puja the previous day with a young man named Amit Kumar. Amit was from Banbigha in Sheikhpura, but currently lived in Kagzi Mohalla, Bihar Sharif, in a rented room. When the police reached his address, Amit appeared nervous. The moment he saw the officers, he tried to run, but he was caught within minutes. At the police station, when questioned, Amit initially denied knowing Puja at all, but his trembling hands and pale face told a different story. The officers decided to turn up the pressure, and under intense interrogation, Amit finally broke down. His words sent a chill down everyone's spine. He said, "Puja is no longer in this world." The room fell silent. Amit confessed that he had killed Puja Kumari and dumped her body behind the Sarai Girls' High School in a nearby drain. Without wasting a second, police teams rushed to the location. The area was swampy, covered with thick vegetation and stagnant water. They searched every corner, but there was no body. Amit then explained that he had locked Puja's body inside a large, shiny new suitcase and thrown it into the water. Believing the body might have floated away, officers expanded their search zone. After hours of effort, they finally found Puja's lifeless body. But strangely, there was no suitcase. This one detail made the entire case even more bizarre. A murder case had now turned into a double investigation. One for Pooja's killer and another for the missing suitcase used to hide her body. It sounded almost unbelievable. Someone had actually stolen the suitcase that contained a murder victim's body. The police were stunned. Reporters began gathering near the school, locals whispered in shock, and by evening the story had spread across Bihar like wildfire. Who had killed Pooja? Why did Amit do it? And more strangely, who stole the suitcase that carried her dead body? The mystery had only begun to unfold. The confession had already shocked the police. But what came next was even darker. When investigators sat Amit Kumar down for a detailed interrogation, his calm, emotionless tone sent chills down the officers' spines. Slowly, he began to reveal the story, piece by piece, of how love, obsession, and fear had led him to commit a horrifying act. Amit and Pooja's paths had crossed years ago, long before this tragedy. They were classmates at the mission school in Sheikhpura. What began as an innocent teenage friendship soon turned into a deep relationship. By 2020, they were inseparable, writing love notes, meeting secretly after classes, dreaming of a future together. They promised each other that one day they would get married. After school, Amit moved to Nalanda, where he started working at a B.Ed college. When Pooja finished her studies, it was Amit who encouraged her to take admission in the nursing college at Bangbiga so they could live closer. Pooja agreed. Her love for Amit was stronger than anything else. Soon she moved into a rented room in Bihar Sharif, and their meetings became frequent. For a while, everything seemed fine, until the topic of marriage came up. Pooja wanted to take their relationship forward. Years had passed and she wanted commitment. But every time she mentioned marriage, Amit avoided the conversation. He had excuses, financial problems, family pressure, not the right time. Anything to delay the inevitable, but Pooja was determined. She loved him deeply and couldn't imagine her life without him. By June 2025, things had reached a breaking point. Pooja's family had started looking for a match for her. They had even fixed a date, June 22nd, when a potential groom's family was supposed to come see her. When Pooja learned about this, she panicked. She knew her parents didn't trust Amit anymore. Earlier, when her father had tried to learn more about Amit, he discovered something disturbing. That Amit had been involved with another girl before Pooja. He had promised that girl marriage too and then abandoned her. Fearing that the same fate might await Pooja, her parents forbade her from seeing Amit again. But Pooja didn't listen. She decided to meet Amit one last time, to convince him to marry her. So on June 17th, she lied to her parents. She said she was going to college to collect her exam uniform. But instead, she went straight to Amit's rented room in Kagzi Mohalla. Inside that small room, the air was thick with tension. Pooja once again begged Amit to marry her. She told him that her family had found another match, and if he didn't act now, she'd be forced to marry someone else. Amit listened silently, his face expressionless. But inside, his emotions were boiling. He told her to stop talking about marriage. She refused. The argument grew louder. Voices echoed through the narrow walls, and then something snapped inside him. In a fit of rage, Amit grabbed a sharp knife lying on the table and slashed Pooja's neck. The room fell silent except for her muffled cries. She tried to fight back, tried to escape, but Amit held her tightly, pressing harder until she stopped moving. The floor was covered in blood, the walls too. Amit stood there, staring at what he had done, trembling, terrified, his mind racing. He hadn't planned this. Now he had a dead body inside his rented room. Panic took over. He began pacing back and forth, thinking of how to dispose of the body. After a few minutes, he made a phone call to his friend Shashikant, also known as Arav, who worked at a local private hospital. Shashikant was from the same area, Barbiga, and had known Amit for years. When Amit told him everything, Shashikant was shocked. But instead of alerting the police, he decided to help his friend cover up the crime. He told Amit that it was too risky to carry the body outside openly. "You need something big," Shashikant said. "Buy a big trolley or suitcase. Hide the body inside and dump it somewhere dark." Following his advice, both of them went to the market and bought a large, shiny suitcase worth 8,000 rupees. It looked almost brand new, something that wouldn't raise suspicion. But when they tried to fit Pooja's body inside, it didn't fit. The size, the shape, nothing matched. So in a horrifying act, they broke her body into a position that could fit inside the suitcase. Blood, fear, and guilt filled the room. Yet neither of them stopped. By the time they were done, it was already dark. The city was quiet. They called a local e-rickshaw driver, offered him extra money, and loaded the suitcase. They told him it contained old clothes. The driver had no idea what was really inside. The two men guided the rickshaw toward the Susarai Girls' High School, an isolated area near a drain. There, in the darkness of the night, they threw the suitcase into the water. But what they didn't realize was that their plan was about to take a bizarre twist. The next morning, when police arrived after Amit's confession, they found the body, but the suitcase was missing. It was as if someone had stolen it. Speculation ran wild. Had someone seen the suitcase and taken it, thinking it was full of valuables? Or was Amit lying? Had he moved the suitcase elsewhere himself? For the police, the missing suitcase became the strangest part of the entire investigation. It was not just a piece of luggage anymore. It was a vital piece of evidence that could expose the truth about how and when Puja was killed. And as the search continued, a shocking discovery was waiting just around the corner. The police headquarters in Patna buzzed with tension. Officers moved quickly through the narrow corridors, their faces tight with exhaustion. The case that had started as a missing girl had now become a murder mystery, one that had stunned the entire city. Amit and his friend Shashikant sat in the interrogation room, heads down, faces pale. They had already confessed to something unspeakable, but what the police didn't yet know was why. The investigator leaned forward, his voice low but sharp. "Tell us everything, Amit." From the beginning, Amit's eyes trembled as he began to speak. His voice cracked with guilt. "I loved her. I really did. But she was drifting away." He described how Puja, once full of warmth and affection, had grown distant. She wanted to focus on her studies, her dreams, and a better life. But Amit, possessive, insecure, and obsessed, couldn't handle that distance. He believed she was betraying him, talking to someone else. In his mind, love turned into suspicion, and suspicion into rage. That evening, he called her to meet at a small lodge near Danapur. Puja came, hesitant but trusting. She didn't know it would be her last day alive, According to Amit's confession, the argument started over something small, her messages, her plans for the future. But within minutes, anger exploded, words turned into screams. And then, silence. He grabbed a pillow and pressed it against her face until she stopped moving. For a moment, the world stood still. When the reality hit him, panic replaced rage. He had just killed the girl he claimed to love. He called his friend Shashikant, terrified and shaking. Together they came up with a horrifying plan to hide her body in a suitcase and dispose of it far away. The next morning they took the suitcase in a car, planning to dump it near Patna's outskirts. But fate had other plans. On their way, they stopped for a short break near a bus stand. When they returned, the suitcase was gone. Stolen. Someone had taken it, without realizing what was inside. For the next 24 hours, the police were chasing two mysteries: a missing girl and a stolen suitcase. Neither side knew they were part of the same nightmare. When the suitcase was finally recovered, a stench of death filled the air. Inside lay Pooja's lifeless body, wrapped in plastic, motionless and cold. The entire room fell silent. Even the most experienced officers turned their faces away. The media called it the suitcase of death. Social media was flooded with outrage. How could anyone do something so cruel? During court proceedings, Amit broke down repeatedly. He said he didn't plan to kill her, it just happened in anger. But the prosecutor's words pierced the courtroom. Love doesn't strangle. Possession does. The judge listened quietly and finally delivered the verdict. Amit Kumar, sentenced to life imprisonment. His accomplice, Shashikant, charged for helping in concealing the crime. Outside the courtroom, Pooja's mother wept silently. Her words echoed in the chaos. She was my only daughter. She trusted him more than herself. The story of Puja Kumari became a dark reminder that love, when mixed with obsession, can destroy everything it touches. In the end, justice was served, but peace never came. Because no punishment could bring back the laughter, the dreams, or the life that ended inside that suitcase. And every time someone in Patna hears the story of the suitcase murder, they don't just remember a crime. They remember a girl who wanted to live but loved the wrong person too deeply.